Welcome to Wealthy After 40. Ready to ditch debt, retire sooner, and live life on your own terms? Only 54% of Gen Xers feel prepared for retirement, and 22% believe they will live a comfortable lifestyle. So if you're feeling like your finances are a hot mess express, you are not alone. I'm Daleen Higgins, founder of Elevate Finances and money coach for Gen Xers. I reached my dream of retiring at 50 while helping our daughter through college, and now I want to help you do the same. It's time to stop avoiding your finances like the plague and start having confident conversations about money. Join me every week to talk about personal budgeting, debt payoff, saving for retirement, money mindset, and leaving a legacy for future generations. Okay, friends, let's talk money. Welcome to today's episode on Wealthy After 40. We're talking about how to set yourself up for success to not only achieve financial freedom, but even if you're looking just for financial stability or financial security. We'll have to talk about those on a different episode of what each one of those means, or feel free to go Google it yourself. But those are different levels within the financial feelings of being able to be successful. Most of the time, we know what is one end goal that we want. I was chatting with a financial planner, and she says, most people come to me and they're like, I need to save X number of dollars for retirement. But then they don't know what all of the little steps are in between. Hopefully this podcast has given you some of those ideas. I shared my 6 steps to financial freedom that I used. And then I have a checklist that breaks it out even further. I have 10 steps on that checklist as well. But knowing those additional steps in between, our point A to point Z is very, very important. But not only do we need to know how to budget, save, and manage our debt, we need to learn other things on how to be successful. What does that mean? And these 8 steps I'm going to share with you today are not just for money. They can be used in any area of your life. So sit down and take some notes and start applying the ideas within each step so that you can find yourself better with your money or better with another area in your life. So step number 1 is to identify goals and be specific. A lot of times, we have heard, make sure they're SMART goals. They're specific, they're measurable, and all of those things. But I love to say, identify your goals, and then you're going to have targets to meet that goal. Meaning, when are you going to want to get there? What is the amount going to be? And from where you are today, specifically, how are you going to get there? If you have that total amount of money you need for that goal, then you've got to break it down and you've got to determine how much time it is before you get there. If you need $20,000 down for a home, when are you wanting to get into the home? Then determine how much you need to save in that period of time and then what that means for each paycheck. So that's what we mean by being specific, is setting out those individual targets, those individual steps are being specific to help you reach your goal. But before you reach your goals, or before you identify your goals, because I feel like a lot of us are just thinking within what we believe we can do and not extending ourselves into any other areas and really opening ourselves up. We oftentimes are like, well, I can never achieve that, so we don't set it as a goal. So you need to have with yourself what I love to call a dream session. And I do this with my clients, removing those mind blocks, those barriers, those things that we find resistance for. I won't ever make enough money, or I can never do that, or I was told that wasn't a good thing to do, or any of those things. Dream, dream, dream. Think of your child when they came to you and they said, I'm going to be Wonder Woman one day, or Superman, or, they're going to be the President of the United States, or they're going to be the next famous soccer player. Whatever it is, that is what I want you to do, is to dream and make that list. Essentially, these are your goals. These are the things that you desire in your heart. And to be successful, you have to truly want these things. So go dream, and then from your list, identify some goals you can start working on and be specific on how that is going to get you there. So step number 2 is learn from what hasn't worked and also remind yourself what has worked. So if you've tried something before and it didn't work for you, it doesn't fit your personality, you hated it, any of those negative feelings, right? It didn't work. Don't do it again, right? That's just wasting time. So then I want you to think about what has worked. Where have you been successful? And even if it's not in the area of money, like where are you thriving? In what modality? In what track, right? In what ideas and thoughts are you most creative, most productive, and you get things done? Double down on those areas. You're really going to have to think about it and determine, if it were to be like this, I really could do good, or, hey, I remember doing that, but I got so frustrated with the other thing that didn't work that I just quit everything. So sit down, think about it, remember what has worked, and double down on it while you're learning to fill in those other holes, right? Because your progress will still be going. So don't keep forcing something that doesn't work well for you, that doesn't feel good, that doesn't have a natural flow. I found this in business. Somebody will say, well, you go and do it like this. And I hate it. So I don't do it, right? So I have to go find something else that's going to work for me so I can be successful. So step number 3, create a plan. We talked about it a little bit in step number 1, but this is where you're going to get even more detailed, right? So a plan with money is the word everybody hates, a budget. Okay. Now, if you don't like the word budget, I want you to change that to a spending plan, because essentially that is what it is. Where are you going to spend your money? I know I have a future episode coming up in the next month about with Sam X. Rennick, and he talks about spending to save. So if you call it a spending plan, but also within that plan you have your savings, it's the same idea. So get dirty, get detailed, and create you a plan. How is it going to look today to help you get to those goals you identified in step number 1? Work through it. The plan may not work the way you want it to, so you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to rework it. You're going to have to make some changes. Again, from step number 2, if it doesn't work and it's not for you and you hate it, don't do it, right? Find something better. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep trying and keep working hard, but just don't do that technique. So create you a plan. Get it spelled out so that you know what you're doing with all of your money today that also provides you wealth in the future. So step number 4, set up ways to measure your progress. So getting a little more difficult, right, in the details, and not everybody loves numbers, but make this as simple as you can. Make this so that you can start seeing results. So when you're setting up measures, you want measures for a longer term, but you want measures for a shorter term as well. So recently I've been working on my fitness and I've added strength training. And, we're told muscle weighs more than fat. So sometimes the mind can play tricks on us. So I had to set up a second way to measure myself because the scale is doing negative things to my mind by showing me I'm gaining weight. My mind does not always remember what we've been told that, muscle weighs more than fat. So I set up a different way to track my progress by actually doing measurements. So, measuring certain parts of the body and seeing that go smaller, even though the weight is going up, I know I am having success, right? I am progressing in the right way. So, what are some ways you can measure your money progress? I want you to get creative. I want you to, choose what's going to work for you. But you can, do a color chart. You want to save so much money, but you're going to color in a square. Make those squares relevant to amounts you feel are, fairly achievable, but fairly difficult. So not, they're writing in the almost to your best goal. If you struggle to save $100 a month, like maybe that square is going to be a 75, right? It's just going to come just underneath it so that you can see that progress. And who knows, maybe you're going to fill in 2 squares, which means you saved 150 instead of just 100. You can have a savings rate where you take your amount you're saving and divide it by your income. This gives you a percentage. Now, if you're working with small numbers, a percentage is great, right? Bigger ones, it means it's going to go down. So I hope I haven't lost many listeners with that. I'm not going to try to get too techie, but I'm just trying to get your juices flowing in different ways for you to measure. So you've got the savings rate. I'm going to keep track on a color sheet. Knowing where you started, I think that is so important. My savings account had $20. And so you've saved, let's say it's been 4 or 5 months, and you know that at that point you saved, let's say $150, but you had to dip into it for, let's say, $100. You still have $50, but you started at 20. You still are making progress. So, making sure that you have different ways to see your progress, to measure your progress. If you're saving and paying down debt, that maybe those go together. How are we doing? Are those measuring out to be equal, the same, or, are we really getting heavy on paying down the debt and I'm seeing it go down? But we're doing okay on savings. We're just holding steady. So think through all of those things. I think it is so very important. All right, moving on to step number 5, find a confidant or an accountability partner. This may or may not be your spouse. It may be a really good friend. It may be a parent. It may not be a parent. I just want you to think outside of the box. This person should be somebody who isn't going to care. And what I mean by that is they're not going to say, I can't believe you didn't do as well as you had wanted to. I want this person to be your cheerleader, to help you find the excitement, the success, even if you didn't quite reach your goal. I want them to be able to point out to you that this is what worked for you. Look at what you did. Look at, you used to think about money this way, but now you're thinking about it this way. Just that they can see the other rays of sunshine when you are darkening the light yourself. So finding somebody to just be there. Maybe it's somebody at your book club if you're meeting once a month, and just say, hey, next month when I come, can you just say, how are you doing with your money? Just so that you have that accountability partner, that somebody you can, confide in. And if you didn't do well, that person might listen to, well, okay, we had this and this, but they're going to pick you up, send you on your way for another month. So choose wisely, but you do need to choose somebody. Number 6, make it easy on yourself. Okay. Now, not too easy, but we don't want to beat ourselves up. Progress is progress. The methods we use should be fairly simple, right? They might stretch us some days, other days they might not, but just recognize every little effort is good. And each effort, it's going to get easier, right? So make it easy on yourself. Set yourself those little targets, those little ways to measure. Don't overextend what you know you can't do. Okay, we do need to kind of challenge ourselves, but we don't want to make it so, it's like somebody who can run maybe a 5K and then you say, okay, you can do a marathon. Those are two different things, right? We have to make it easy on ourselves. We have to choose little extended challenges to be better. So keep going, make it easy on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Just realize progress is progress. Number 7. This one is a hard one, but this is the one that is going to help you in any area of your life you're trying to be successful. Be patient and persistent. Money doesn't come to us every day. I don't know, maybe it does to you, but most people it doesn't, right? We have a payday, we have a paycheck. Even if we're an entrepreneur, we're only taking money out, not every single day. So we need to be persistent and patient because the money is going to take time to come in. The money is going to take time to grow. But if we are persistent with each of those little steps, each of those targets, and the way we're tracking our measures, right? We can keep going. We dreamed our dream in step number 1, and we're persistent about it. Don't forget what it was that you dreamed in step 1. A lot of times we just want to shut them down. A lot of times they're at the back of our mind. That step number 1, where you set your goals and you were dreaming before that, you need to remember your dream. Keep your feet pointed to it. Keep going, be patient, be persistent. It's like just keep going. Easier said than done, but step number 6, make it easy on yourself. Be patient with yourself, right? We have to be patient with the process. We need to be patient with ourselves, but we got to keep going. Just keep pursuing that dream that you had in mind in step 1. The final step number 8, is to celebrate your victories. Every single little advancement you feel, you see, you celebrate. You celebrate as if you've hit that final, right? You've got to feel good. Feeling good, right, makes us go harder, faster, more persistent. We can see it, we can feel it. So celebrate. Use those endorphins to keep you going. So that sums it up for the 8 steps. Let me just read over those again. Think about them, explore them on your own, see how you can make them your own, right? That's what it's all about in money, is how can I make this work for me? So the steps again are: number 1, identify your goals and be specific. Number 2, learn from what hasn't worked and double down on what has. Number 3, create a plan. Number 4, set up ways to measure your progress. Not just one way, ways. It's a multiple, right? Step number 5, find a confidant or an accountability partner. Number 6, make it easier on yourself. Number 7, be patient. Be patient with the process, be patient with you, and be persistent. Be persistent with your process and be persistent in all the things you're doing. Number 8, celebrate. Celebrate every victory. You feel it, you celebrate it. That's all I have for you today on today's episode. I wish you well on your track to success, and just know that wherever you are, I am here rooting for you. And if you need any assistance, please feel free to reach out. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Every week, my goal is to help you get one step closer to financial freedom and making confident decisions so your money starts working for you. Having a community of support is important to your financial success. I would love to have you join me in my free Facebook community, All Things Personal Finance. Inside this group, every live training, action challenge, and posts are filled with tips and strategies to help you progress to financial freedom. If you have questions from today's episode or want to learn more, follow me on Instagram @ElevateFinances. If you're looking for personalized support to get your finances on track, check out my website at elevatefinances.us to learn more about how I can support you with one-on-one coaching. Thanks and have a wonderful day.